Hello and welcome to another episode of AC, that's me, Talking Bowls. Thank you so much for joining me. I think that extra episode went really well last week. Lots and lots of comments, and I think I'm going to have to do the same again this week. There were, I think, 18 comments on last week's main video on the Wednesday, and I think there's been 16 on the extra video. So I'm going to do two videos this week, so one today and one on Friday, hopefully to cover all the points, comments, issues raised by everybody. I hate it when I feel as though I've let somebody down. And I had to PM somebody the other day, again with an apology, because I totally missed his comment about something, but it's all sorted now. So welcome to my man cave, as per usual. It's great that you can join me. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please hit that like button, and if you're not already a bowls buddy and you'd like to be part of the community, please hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free of charge, and don't forget to hit the notification bell for notifications of new content on the channel. And if you can do me a big favour and share these videos with your friends who are interested in bowls, and get them to subscribe as well. It's noticeable. I'm getting reasonable views. I'm quite happy with the level of views I'm getting. Only 25% of you that are watching are subscribers though, which seems incredible really. So I could have, rather than 1400, I could have, you know, nearly 5,000 subscribers if everyone who watched subscribed. So anyway, thanks for all of you for watching and subscribing and liking and commenting. Without you, I wouldn't have a lot to talk about at the minute. So if you remember last Wednesday, we were talking about the situation in Leeds with the park screens under threat, and I showed you around a few of the park screens that had gone in Rosendale. And I believe yesterday there was an initial meeting. I've been in touch with Laura, and there was an initial meeting where the councillors were taking some of the park's employees to task about the plans and the consultation and everything, and the councillors seem to be supporting the idea of keeping the greens open, which is great news. It's a first step. Nothing's been decided yet. There is a Change Me petition, and I'll put a link to that in the description. But like I say, as an initial step, it seems pretty positive to me. So well done, and let's hope it all continues. Yeah, losing greens. Where else? I heard of another green going. Yeah, I can't think where it is now. Oh well, that's age for you. It'll come to me, no doubt. Not a lot else to tell you about things that are happening. I think it's gone a little quiet on the Waterloo front. I think they're waiting for the next Waterloo draw, which is this week, I think. Yeah, first week in December. So as soon as I know anything about that, I'll let you guys know. The money that you donated for my weight loss, that is in the bank. That is nice and safe, earning 0.1% interest. But yeah, as soon as Ricky and the gang need that money, I will forward that £2,200, I think it finished at. I made it a nice round figure. I will forward that as soon as they require it. So I'll start digging into the comments from Wednesday's episode, and most of them are about the situation in Leeds, but I'm going to start with Alan Lancaster, because Alan's a regular contributor and he's put a lot of time and effort into this comment, and I'll read it all and then we'll discuss it a little bit. I've been looking at the history behind bowling, comparing it to other sports that came before and after. before his wrestling, boxing and athletics. After bowling in the 13th century came tennis, curling, billiards, snooker, horse racing, football, cricket and flat green bowling. What is it that has allowed all these sports to develop to a point where they have been able to outstrip our own game? Well, nation and worldwide play is the answer, and crown green bowling is localised to a few areas in the north of England. We are missing a trick big time. Even the flat green game, developed by the powers that be, wrote a set of rules at the beginning that allowed the game to be played overseas, and of course that happened. So it is the lack of foresight that as a sport we have simply stood still, and you know what they say, if you stand still long enough you'll get hit by a truck. So the biggest thing those in power could do is to develop the game at least nationwide, and at some time in the future get the game played overseas. There's not a lot I disagree with in Alan's post there. I think we have allowed ourselves to become this niche sport in the working class, mainly working class area of the country, and we've almost revelled in it that we are this niche sport. Now, whilst doing a bit of research and reading for the episode I'm going to make on the Talbot, it was interesting to note in the 19th century, so going back to the start of the Talbot, which was about 1880 something, I forgot, bowling was just called bowling, and the majority of the country played what we now call crown green bowls. It was the flat green game wasn't organised. The EBA didn't come into existence till 1903, and basically areas of the country just got on with their own rules and versions of the game. And if you read Hugh Hornby's book Bowled Over, there's a lot in it about the very early history and Lewes Castle and some other places where they still play these variations of the sport. And if you read any of the old newspaper cuttings, it only talks about bowling when it talks about the Talbot, because that's what bowling was in England. In Scotland it was different. They were organised a bit sooner, and they had this flat green game playing the slightly different rules and became known as the Scottish game, and lawn bowls, flat green bowls. So crown green bowls is a fairly new name, really. It's not a good name either, but there's no reason why our game can't be played on all the flat greens in the country as well. The flat green lawns aren't as flat as the indoor version, and there's a lot of nuances to the greens, and I think it would be a very good game to play. Obviously you don't have the big hump in the middle, but that's arguably irrelevant. The roving jack game could be played anywhere, and it's a suggestion I made to Mark Burdett when we get the Crown Green Tournament Players Association going. We should go to some flat greens that border Crown Green territories and show them our game, show them how to play it. And I honestly believe it's a far more enjoyable game than playing in fours up and down the lanes where you send two balls every 20 minutes or whatever. At least Crown Green bowls, you're always playing, you're always involved. And yet I think it would be a great idea having a small group of players going and travelling round and demonstrating our sport. Of course it costs money, and who's going to put that up? British Crown Green. They should be trying to grow our game, and I think Alan's absolutely right. It's the only way. No, not the only way. It's one of the best ways to grow the game. You look how businesses grow by buying other companies and developing that way. There's nothing to say that a flat green can also host Crown Green bowls. No issue whatsoever. The the area is about the right size. The fact that you've got a bias jack and smaller balls is irrelevant to the bowls club, and who knows, they might prefer the crown green game to the flat green game and convert. But yeah, absolutely brilliant idea, Alan, and one that I would fully back. And I'd love to go to some of the, I know in North Yorkshire there's a lot of flat greens, you know. Would they be interested? The counties that border crown green areas, you know, Nottinghamshire for instance. What's that one under, is it Worcester? Where, I know it's Warwick and Worcester, but I don't think there's a lot of bowls in Worcester, is there? Yeah, anyway, you get the drift. I think it would be a good idea to go and visit some of these other areas and show them what our sport's about. Great comment, Alan. Gary Spencer, another long one. In terms of park greens, I know some park bowling clubs have taken over the running from the council privately. I would encourage any park club to try and negotiate with the council to do this, because if they agree to let the club take over the running and maintenance of this, they save their paltry £4,000 maintenance costs, and the club can do their own cutting and maintenance. I'm not going to read out the rest of it. Yes, it's a great option if you've got a good set of members, if you know, and it's not all just falling onto the same people. Obviously there might be guys and girls who want to do the cutting of the green, etc. And I know a lot of clubs that do it. Gag Hills is in a similar position, and basically the greenkeeper Phil Worrell gets free membership and a sum of money towards his costs. The only downside, of course, is if, and it sounds like in Leeds especially, there's a lot of clubs where they're all quite elderly, and probably wouldn't be able to do the maintenance side of it. But yeah, I know a lot of clubs that are doing it and they find it very successful. They can do the maintenance, cut the greens when they need to, generally do a better job than the parks department who just want to keep the grass short. But yeah, a great suggestion, and one that clubs should look at if they've got the membership to do it. So thanks Gary, thanks for the comment. Marie Fully Love, thank you for mentioning Hare Hills Park Greens. My husband and son are laid to rest there and we cannot let this great sport go. You are doing a brilliant job. Well, thanks Marie, that's very kind of you. And yeah, it's not all about bowls, is it? It's not all about playing bowls. There's also the other aspects that go alongside the game. It's more than a sport. I think for a lot of people it's their life. And thanks for watching, Marie, and thanks for the comment. Martin Gerard, interesting thoughts, Andy. I fear by the time this pandemic is finally over, we will see a lot of greens disappear. Costs and lack or loss of members will unfortunately come into play. In the league I play in, it is common knowledge that a lot of clubs are struggling. Hopefully many of these will find a way to survive, but the odds are not good. Thanks for the vids, they're good to watch even if they're not all good news. Well, thanks very much Martin, you share my concerns there. You know, there's no quick easy solution, unfortunately. We can only do what we can do, and just remember to support our clubs once we can, whether that's rejoining, whether you don't know if you're going to play or not, or spending a few more quid over the bar, or raising some money for them, or whatever. We'll just have to try and pull together and do what we can. Laura H, thanks Andy, we at Hare Hills are able to take over the green if the need arises, but it is not and should not be about those who are able. How can an 84-year-old be expected to mow a bowling green, for example? Yes, thanks Laura, that's exactly the point. It's not, we're not all young people, you know. I can go and spike a green and mow the green and what have you, but you know, will I be able to do that in 40 years time? I doubt it very much. John Tompkinson, another Another lad from Leeds, I think. Thank you for mentioning the dilemma we currently have within the Leeds Council area regarding the closure of bowling greens. I am a member of one of the clubs in Wharfdale and I'm shocked that they wish to do this. I would hope that our club and many others, if need be, can take over the running and maintenance for their respective greens if the council decides to close them, subject to raising the funds to do so. Myself and other members have written to local councillors, the council themselves and local MPs. Like you said about the elderly who like to go play socially and meet their friends, surely the health of both young and old, mentally and physically, should be considered. Besides the situation with the bowling greens, Leeds County Council should also wish to close the sailing centre near Leeds Bradford Airport, which again is used by a lot of people. Well, I'm surprised that they want to close a sailing centre as well. I did a bit of sailing the other year and it's quite enjoyable. I thought it was just for a certain class of person, but no, it's just another sport for all, and a very enjoyable one at that. But thanks for watching, John, and thanks for the comment, and fingers crossed LCC see a little bit of sense. Tim Hodge, great job highlighting important issues for our great sport. Keep it going, Andy. Thanks, Tim, and thanks for taking the time to watch and comment. That's great. Paul Hargreaves from Burnley, another regular contributor. Sobering stuff, AC. Only climbed a steep hill to Maiden Fold once in October 2018. The green was full of leaves and other autumnal debris, but was otherwise playable. It was upsetting to see the relatively fast metamorphosis and air of abandonment. Yep, it was particularly sad. Like I say, it's only been a couple of years it's not been used, maybe even 18 months, I'm not 100% sure, and that just looked like it had been laying fallow for years, but really, really sad. Ted Holden, Andy, thank you for your advice re-coaching. Like yourself, I am distressed with the abandoned greens. Bolton Council are closing several of their greens in 2021 using the same reasons as Leeds, yet we are paying for these greens via our council taxes. I would like to see more publicity, open days, encouragement to get playing bowls, but it needs organisation and leadership. Absolutely, Ted. I play at Queen's Park in Haywood. That is a massive green in the Rochdale League, where we do have a small youth team and we do invite everyone to join and play. We do have bowls for the public to hire and we play every afternoon. Fantastic, Ted. That's the sort of thing we need. We need more amenities open to the general public who might want to try it, but you've hit the nail on the head. There needs to be a concerted effort, a concerted structured effort to get people playing, and that can only come from our governing body. If people don't know the sport exists, how can they play it? Simple as that. Simple as that. Don't get me started though. Steve Armitage. Difficult to know the answer for the current situation regarding the parks greens in Leeds. Have they all got teams based at them? While I totally agree with you, these amenities should remain open for all, surely it's the residents of Leeds playing these venues that's the answer. So it's great that you've brought attention to it. I've shared as requested. Cheers, Steve. Yeah, I mean, obviously the greens need to be used, and I think I said, you know, a lot of the venues have 2 and 3 greens. Maybe they only need 1. And that was one of the things that Leeds proposed as well. The most draconian one was getting rid of half the greens, and they had other suggestions that they may go forward with. And, you know, yeah, if there's only 30 players at a club, they don't need 2 greens or 3 greens, do they? They only need 1, and that I totally understand. And also, I didn't realise that Leeds charge an annual season ticket to play bowls. I think it's £40 or whatever, which, you know, that's not unreasonable. But they expected that to increase on year, and obviously that hasn't happened, and bowls is losing players every year. So they were gobsmacked, Leeds Council, when this money they expected to be rolling in to, and they would subsidise the rest, has dropped. I think maybe the first year there was 1,500 people bought this annual season ticket, which in a population of a million people, that's not a lot. And it's dropped. I think it's dropped down to about 1,300 now. So I can understand Leeds Council dilemma. I understand that you don't want to be, you know, spending money on facilities that aren't being used. Totally accept that. But there must be a balancing act. There must be a line that needs to be drawn, saying, well, actually, we need this many greens and we need them in these areas because this is where they're used. So all I want from Leeds Council is some a little bit of vision, just a little bit of care, and to look at it not about money. Just look at everything else that goes alongside the games. Gerald, thanks for the message, Stephen. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Gerald O'Shaughnessy, I think it is, because it's cut the end of his name off. We lost the Rodwich Bowling Club last year at Parks Green, one of the best in the 60s and 70s. A lot of old members' ashes are scattered there. A sad end. Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the issues that you have when greens go. It's not just about the bowling, as I keep saying, it's about life that's gone on around it, and greens and bowling is a massive part of people's lives. It's a massive part of my life, even though I've took a little bit of a back step from playing. It's still a massive part of my life, and it's an important one. And I honestly don't know if all the greens went and I didn't have the option to play bowls, I'm not sure how I would cope. Having that option is a nice little safety net for me at the minute. But Clinton Roddis, regarding loss of all public facilities, sorry to get political, but if you voted Tory, what did you expect? Well, I can't totally agree with that, and it's for the following reasons. 2 of the 3 greens I mentioned in Rosendale last week both went under a Labour government and a Labour council at local level. So it's not all about politics, it's not all about funding. I think councils have funding, and it's how they choose to spend it that is the issue. They would rather build a multi-use games area with floodlights, all singing and all dancing, that a handful of kids might use, but probably not, because kids don't go out and they play on the computers or whatever they use these days, PlayStation, Xboxes, what have you. They don't use these multi-use games areas half as much as councils think they're going to do. They have lights on all the time, but that's seen as a good positive thing, because you're trying to help the youth get fit, get healthy, get out of the house, but they don't want to. Whereas we have bowlers who are of an age, they tend to be elderly, who want exercise. They don't want to go to the gym, they don't want to go bike riding, they want to go and have a game of bowls because it's enjoyable, it's social, and they see the friends. So I don't accept that it's about Tory cuts and austerity and all the rest of it, because parks, greens and other amenities have been disappearing from parks for the last 40 years, since I can remember as a kid. At Edgeside Park, you know, facilities were taken away, new ones were built. A skateboard park, there was a skateboard park built in Edgeside Park, never seen anyone on it. They ended up using it to play football on. So can't accept that. I don't think it's all about party politics. But thank you for watching, and thank you for the comment, Clinton. And I think finally, Steve Mullington. It was really sad to see Edgeside like that, and it tugged on the heartstrings somewhat, as I'm sure it did 100 full for you. Absolutely, Steve. Steve will have played that green in the Rochdale League when we had a good side. We did have a good side. We had some very good players play for us. Myself, Keith Scaife, Ian McNeil, Peter Connolly, all 4 of us have played for the county at one time or another. We had players like Michael Cordy, Paul Cordy, Tony Cordy. The Cordys used to be very well known competition players. Derek Nuttall played with us for a time, Frank Lord. apologies if I've missed. I could go on and on about the Edgeside team. We did have a good side, and from the age of 8, you know, that was my life until I left in 1998. And the green, I thought it was amazing. It had something in it. It was so subtle. So when it got quick, it was really tough to play. Really tough. Lots of little subtle channels as well. I had so many marks on there, and I could go on there now and probably pick them out again. From secondary school age, so from 11 years old onwards, 6-week holidays, I'd be there every weekday for 4 hours. My dad used to drop me off on his after lunch on his way back to work, and pick me up again on his way back home from work, and I'd be there for 4 hours practicing on my own, generally with 2 sets of balls. Used to laugh at the pensioners all having a cup of tea in the blazing sunshine, going, yeah, this will cool you down. I never believed them. I'd have a walk to the shop on the corner, have a can of pop. That was more my cup of tea. Yeah, that's, yeah. So yeah, good memories. A few bad ones as well, but mainly good. I remember a group of girls. I was practicing one evening, and they nicked my bowls bag and they ran off with it, and I had to chase them to get it, and they threw me. Whilst I was doing that, one of them went back and threw me jack into a bush somewhere, and I've never been able to find it. Oh well. Yeah, never really liked girls at that age. That's probably why I played bowls so much. So yeah, some really happy memories of Edgeside, and the days I loved the most were the Cairns bedding competitions. My dad has sponsored bowls events since 1976 actually, and they used to run a 1 to 8 entry competition at Edgeside Park, £5 entry, £300 first prize, £1,000 total prize money, which was one of the very first £1,000 handicaps, and that ran all the way up to 1991, I think. I might have been the last winner, can't just think about it. Yeah, I used to love going watching all the good players. I remember Mark Britton playing in it, Ingham Gregory, Neil Bithell, a lot of good local players like Mick O'Donnell, Mick Chapman, John Birtwistle, he won it. Lot of good players. Ingham Gregory actually, he got, I think it was the year Mark Britton won it, and Ingham Gregory got to the semi-final. It absolutely larruped down, and he decided he just wasn't fit enough to play and pulled out in the semi-final, which was unfortunate. And I think maybe 2 years later he won the Waterloo, and then unfortunately passed away. So seen some good players on Edgeside. There's been a lot of good bowling, and it is incredibly sad that it's not happening on there, and hasn't been for 20ish years. So it only feels like 2 minutes since I was last on there playing. Alas, it isn't, and time has flown. So guys, thank you for watching. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed it, and if you have any comments, anything you'd like me to talk about or mention, leave a comment in the comment section of this video, and I will see it and I will talk about it. I will do another one on Friday to clear up the things from Friday's episode, and hopefully to give you something else just to pass the time. Guys, it's been really enjoyable again. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. I know we're coming out of lockdown and we're going into these tiers, so remember to stay safe. And I'll speak to you Friday. Thanks for watching. See you then.